I think looking back at the draw with Galatasaray, I mean, Manchester United have been masters of their own downfall in this Champions League. It's incredible that they've conceded 14 goals in 5 games. It's yeah, and it's very easy to go in on Onana, but I think as a team they just don't manage situations very well. We were 2-0 up against Copenhagen away, we were 2-0 up against Galatasaray away, scored 3 goals in Munich, and have lost all those games. It's not a group that when it was drawn, you look at it and go, that's going to cause problems for Manchester United. So yeah, there's individual errors, of course there is, but as a collective, even when Galatasaray equalised with 20 minutes to go, there is so much space that composure, we could have scored another 2 or 3 goals. I don't know how we've managed to lose to Galatasaray at Old Trafford and draw at their place when they play so open. I mean, I really do think a team like Liverpool or Man City would be in double figures. I think when you look at some of the bad results Manchester United have had this season, you've got to look at Ten Hag. A lot of people are questioning that. I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, people talk about game management. I think that I'm baffled by how we've gone from a team that was so progressive last season. I mean, I think he overachieved last year, taking us to third and 2 cup finals. And he's basically dismantled a lot of what was good about that. And I know there has been injuries to Martinez and Casemiro and Luke Shaw, and there's a big difference with Luke Shaw back in the team. But Rafael Varane sat on the bench. He was massively important last season. I mean, Ten Hag even referenced the new camp from last year, but Varane was man of the match. Selling David De Gea for Onana, bringing in Mason Mount, that's not worked. I think that there is man management, there is game management issues with Ten Hag, but I'm absolutely baffled why he took most of what was good from last season and decided to dismantle it. Look, when it comes to Onana, I was very, very firm that we didn't make this change this summer. David De Gea, for me, is a goalkeeper that has got his limitations in relation to playing the ball out from the back and does make the occasional mistake, but over 10 years proved himself to be a Manchester United goalkeeper, not only on the pitch, but in the dressing room as well. I know for a fact that there was some bewilderment in the dressing room that De Gea was allowed to go in the circumstances that he was. And let's not forget, Manchester United let David De Gea go for free and spent £50 million on his replacement. I mean, simple maths. Is Onana worth £50 million? Is he £50 million better than David De Gea? It's just not a problem to solve this summer. And also, the one reason Onana was brought in was because of his ball-playing ability, but we don't play out from the back. So what you basically got is, who's the better goalkeeper, Onana or De Gea? Was De Gea. For 50 million quid, we should have stayed with De Gea. So it's a really bad decision. I said it in March, changing Man United's goalkeeper, it's not like changing your toothbrush. It's difficult and it's costing us games. Look, do I think that Man United will qualify for the Champions League? I don't think we deserve to. If we do, I'll take it. It's Christmas time. It's a time for miracles, but we don't deserve it. But if we don't qualify, which is highly likely, there is a potential to go in the Europa League. There's a potential that we're not in Europe at all. I think some United fans had said rather not be in Europe at all than play Thursday night football again. And I completely get that. But we've got to live in a real world. Look at Manchester City, look at Newcastle and the wealth they have. Manchester United are very close when it comes to financial fair play and what they can spend. If Man United are out of Europe completely in December, that is going to have a huge impact financially. So we do need to be in the Europa League. I don't want to be in it. It's embarrassing. And I think you've got to look at as well how Manchester United haven't made it to the knockout stage from what was quite a straightforward group. And that reflects badly not on the players as well, but also on the club. This whole infrastructure thing that we talk about the sale, but also I think Ten Hag's got to take a big responsibility, because I guarantee if he'd put pretty much the team out that he had last year, we'd have coasted through this group. And I know we've had injuries, but some of those players were sold, some of them are on the bench. We're just a different team this year, and basically we're getting what we deserved. I think with Kobbie Mainoo, his performance against Everton was magnificent, and he deserved all the plaudits. I actually didn't have a massive issue with him not starting against Galatasaray, because he's just come back from a long injury. He's only 18 years of age, and you can't put that much expectation and pressure on a young player. And I think there's a lot of United fans saying you've just got to start Mainoo, replace Casemiro with Mainoo. That's ridiculous. I mean, this is his breakthrough season. He will play 60 minutes. He'll play a full game. He won't play for a couple of games. That's just the way it's going to be. And if we're demanding that an 18-year-old starts every week for Manchester United and replaces Casemiro, then we're in more trouble than I thought. You can't do that with a young player. He has to be allowed, especially in that position, to grow in the position. But Ten Hag said it, the maturity and the confidence that they have in the player. I think he's so composed. He's so quick on the ball. He wants the ball. He can carry the ball. Does he remind me of anybody? I think it's always a dangerous route to go down that. And I've heard people talk about SEN and Modric and players like that. And I'm like, yeah, you can say he's got similarities, but he's only 18. I think for me, he's got to be Kobbie Mainoo. And what Manchester United need is somebody that can sit in front of that defence, protect it, but also feed the attack. If you look at the Galatasaray game, there was so much space and the centre-backs are just hitting long balls. And what you need is someone to say to the centre-backs, give me the ball, play through the press, and then you've got Bruno, as we saw with the first 2 goals. So I think Mainoo, we've just got to look after this player, make sure we don't overplay him, make sure he doesn't get injuries, because players like that and the way he plays the game are exactly the type of players that Manchester United need to build around.